Hello, today's lesson is the introduction to vertical angles. So what angle relationship do you see in the two figures below? Well, because we see a straight line with an angle from the vertex creating two angles, this is a supplementary angle. Also, we see a straight line with another ray that forms two angles, so this is also supplementary. But if we extend one of these lines, so going from this vertex and extending another straight line, we've now created two additional angles. And it turns out that this angle and this angle are congruent, which means they're exactly the same. And the obtuse angle here and this obtuse angle here are also congruent, meaning exactly the same measurement. And on top of that, we've created another pair of supplementary angles here. So we have another pair of supplementary angles here, another pair of supplementary angles here. So we've created all sorts of different relationships. So once again, if we take this ray and extend it into a line, our new angle formation is called vertical. And I kind of think about this being a V, they kind of point to each other. The two acute angles are congruent, same measurement. And the two obtuse measurements, again, if we think about this being a V and pointing to each other, the two obtuse measurements are congruent, exactly the same. And since we have straight lines, we have a series of supplementary relationships now that are formed. So when we extend the ray to create a line, two additional angles are created, and these new angles are related. The relationship between adjacent angles, and those are the angles next to each other, so let's write that share a common ray. And I'm just going to put share a common ray. Okay, so the relationship is still supplementary, so it adds up to 180 degrees. The angles across the vertex are known as vertical angles. And they are congruent, which means equal in measure. And then finally, it says when two lines intersect that are not perpendicular, it creates a pair of obtuse angles and a pair of acute angles. So let's write that in. If they're perpendicular, it creates 90-degree angles. So we have a pair, always, of acute angles and a pair of obtuse angles, and they are equal in measurement. So now let's see what that looks like. So in this little reminder, it says vertical angles are congruent, meaning that angle N and angle S are congruent, means equal to in measurement, and angle W and angle E are also equal in measurement. So it says if N equals 140 degrees, then the measurement of angle S is also 140 degrees. Then we have that other relationship now, which is supplementary angles that measure a total of 180 degrees. Well, if we know that N is 140 degrees, then measure of W next to it is 40 degrees. And then we know that W is congruent to E, then the measure of E must be 40. So we have 140, 40, and we know that from a supplementary relationship. And then vertically, we have angle E, which is also now the same measurement as W, which is 40. So if we're given just one measurement, we're able to figure out the other three. So in example 1, they did this for us. This first measurement they told us is 129 degrees. So directly across the vertex, and that's what I think of vertical angles and vertex, directly across the vertex is angle T. It's the same measurement. These are both obtuse angles, so 129 degrees is the measurement. Now that we know that, we can tell what E is if we just ignore what's underneath this line. Right here we have a supplementary relationship. We know this is 129, so 180 minus 129 would give us 51. And now that we have E, the measurement of E being 51, vertically across, the vertical angle across the vertex is F, and it also is the same measurement. Again, it helps if you think about it in terms of acute angles are the same and obtuse angles are the same. So I'd like you to go ahead and try the rest of this and see if you can figure out the measurements of the angles that are not given based on the one that is. Have a good afternoon.